The country's former finance minister, Ignatius Chombo, has been denied bail. He appeared in a court in Harare earlier today after spending the weekend behind bars. He's facing charges of attempting to defraud Zimbabwe Central Bank, among other offences allegedly committed way back in 2004. He is among several high-profile individuals who've been detained by the military, the Zimbabwean Defence Forces, last week. Now, a former university lecturer and ally of Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the former president, Mr. Chombo was promoted in an October cabinet reshuffle from the Ministry of Interior to the finance portfolio. Right then, let's get you the latest then from Zimbabwe. Developments over there happening pretty fast. Farai Muktuya is live in Harare right now with the latest developments. So, Farai, aside from the former finance minister, Ignatius Chombo, how many other members of the former government have been arrested or yet to be accounted for?
Well, Rama, I can tell you that the former finance minister is the highest profile, official that we've seen so far. The head of the ZANU-PF Youth League, Kudzanai Chipanga, is also being charged and, in fact, has also been denied bail along with the former finance minister. Both of them remanded until the 8th of December. There's another ZANU-PF Youth member, Hamandishe, who is also, charged. Now, in terms of other senior government officials that we know, no information is yet on some of them. We know that two of them, the former higher and tertiary education minister as well as the former local government minister, were pictured aboard a plane and believed to be leaving the country into Mozambique. They have since been on Twitter saying that they are free out of the country and are safe and secure. So in terms of details of other officials, we don't have those. Perhaps if they are still being held, then the military officials will have that information. But former Minister Chombo is the one that we can confirm. He's now no longer in military custody, but now being held by the Zimbabwe Republic Police and appearing in court now.
Indeed. The interim president last week Friday arguing in his speech against, and I'm using his words here, vengeful retribution. But what exactly is the plan to deal with public assets which were illegally or improperly seized and taken into private hands, especially by individuals who were in government or associated with people in government?
Indeed. Well, we expect that, there will be swift movement on this. There is a Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission which had been investigating a number of government officials, but their investigations have been stifled because of, influence being used in the political circles and the fact that the Anti-Corruption Commission doesn't have arresting powers. It was basically seen as a toothless bulldog. Now we expect that now that there's this fresh impetus, we might see some of those cases being followed through. One of the mandates of the Anti-Corruption Commission, apart from putting people behind bars or pushing for people to be prosecuted, is to try and recover as much as it can in terms of assets. And we're likely to see that some of these properties that have been acquired will be action will be taken to go after them and to recover them. We also know that parliamentarians have been pushing for a declaration of assets for all MPs, for all government officials, and in fact for all civil servants. And that'll be one way in which the officials here will be able to measure or gather who has acquired what, how, is it justified, and if not, hopefully also be able to recover that in the interests of the public purse. Rama.
Indeed. One last question for you, Farai. We are closing in on 72 hours since Emmerson Mnangagwa was sworn in as the country's interim president. When will Zimbabwe have a cabinet in place, and how likely is it to include the opposition?
Well, when a cabinet is in place, we anticipate that certainly that announcement is imminent. People were expecting it as early as Friday after the inauguration, or certainly over the weekend. It hasn't happened. Hasn't happened as yet today. Might, happen during the course of the night, but we expect that it's imminent. And, the president said in his inauguration speech he wants to hit the ground running. And we expect that announcing a cabinet is one of the ways that he'll demonstrate that. Certainly the budget, the 2018 budget, needs to be passed, needs to be presented to Parliament by the 7th of December. And so a new finance minister has to be in place to be able to do that. Whether or not there will be opposition faces in this cabinet remains to be seen. Analysts I've spoken to think that it's unlikely. All that we've seen here, the stepping down of President Robert Mugabe, the military operation, the changes that ZANU-PF has pushed through have essentially been to consolidate ZANU-PF's position, to salvage ZANU-PF from, these criminal elements who had captured it. And so it's unlikely that after going to all this work, they would then reward the opposition by giving them places in this cabinet. However, there is a school of thought that believes that in order to be able to appeal to the international community, that some of these opposition faces should be included. The president has certainly spoken about working with Zimbabweans across the political divide. So it remains to be seen if he will incorporate some opposition faces, but certainly he may reach out to some technocrats, to people from commerce and industry. But when, I think it's imminent, we expect it certainly before this week is out. Hopefully we'll be speaking again in the next few hours on this show to be breaking down who's been given which portfolio and how effective we expect them to be going forward, Rama.
Indeed, that's certainly a conversation I'll be looking forward to. Thank you very much for that. That's Farai Muktuye there live in the Zimbabwean capital, Harare. Now,